Hi, this is PD at BurgZerg Arcade at BurgZergArcade.com, and this is tutorial 203. So in our last tutorial we left off, we've been going through from main menu to start and integrating our new game settings script. And I just want to actually start the game off from the start, because I think there was one thing I forgot. Let me just check here. So I'm just going to go straight from the start. I'm actually going to maximize on play. I'm going to delete my character, because I know jumping from the main menu to the actual game works. And of course, I haven't adjusted the speed at which you raise your points at, but that's fine. I'm just testing and I want it to be quick. Now, if you haven't noticed, I've started using the Necromancer Gui Skin. It's not really the style I want for my game, but it's something that does look a lot better than our default, and it's something that's available to everyone. If you're looking for it, I did link it on the website at BurgZergArcade.com. Just go to the search bar and do Necromancer Gui Skin or something like that. Necromancer Gui. And there's a space between the two words. But I'll just go ahead, hit next. So it comes here. I'm just going to take the defaults. We'll hit next. And you'll notice it's not actually going into the game world. So I did forget that. So I'm going to go to that scene. I believe it's the character mount script we put that button on. I'm just going to load that up. It would be down at the bottom. And I did. So I'm going to come down here. So we have the button here. It just calls the save. I don't want it to actually be part of... Whoops. Yeah, I'm going to comment this out. I don't want the loading of the next level to be part of the save. What I want it to be part of is after the button is pressed. Because you might call this save customizations somewhere else in the script. And I'm pretty sure I'm not, but just in case, I don't want it to be trying to save something and advance to the next scene without me actually clicking a button to do it. So I'm going to put it here. So it's part of the application class, and I'm just going to say load level, and then the name of the level I want to load. So now we're going to be using game settings 2 dot level names, and it should be 3. This is where creating an enumeration for it would be so much better, but I haven't, so let's just use the string or the string array that I've made. 1, 2, 3, 4, and of course it starts at 0, so it is 3. So I'm just going to save that off. I'm going to start the scene back up, and now when I hit next, it should actually go into the game. And there we go. I'm going to unmaximize on play. I'm actually going to start it in my main scene, or my tutorial scene now. I'm going to start it up, unclear. I don't want these to be shown by default. I'll fix that in a minute. Well, let me load that script up now. I believe it's, yeah, my GUI. Let's go down to the settings for on GUI. So we have these toggles here by default, which is probably in my start or my awake. And it looks like I have them set to true up here. So let me just come through and just switch these to false so it starts, they don't show by default. Right here. So just simply switch false to true. And right here. We'll get those just so when it starts up, they're not there. And this should still work. So hit C, I get the character panel. Hit I get the inventory panel. Alright, I want to start cleaning up the scene a bit and get the items to start working. So the first thing I want to do is click on my chest. I'm too far away. And we see that it's spawning items here. This is me clicking on it. Let's just open up this script. I'm going to get rid of that. Well, I'll just comment it out. Let me see. So we are making an item, and this is made from the chest script. It's debug logging out the name, which is fine. That's what I want. And it looks like it's getting it from the item generator script. So I'm just going to quickly load that one up too. So I'll come down, probably under item scripts, and sure enough, there it is. Alright, nothing showing in there. I actually have a null reference. Oh, it's because I've edited a script. I want to get rid of these dancing mobs as well because I don't need them for now. And I only want the stuff in here that I actually need. I could probably clean some of this up by creating an empty game object. And I'm just going to call it tutorial train. And this will be all the stuff that's not necessarily static, but is always present. So my quartz is my bindstone type thing. I'm not sure if my occlusion area has to be included outside of it or not, but I'm going to throw it in for now. Let me see, the GUI can stay out, my terrain can go in, and my water can go in. There we go. A lot more room to look at. So I've got 3 chests here. And there's 3 scripts, I believe, right now that we're using for our items, and we're done with this one. I'm going to keep this open. The first one will be item generator, the chest, and my GUI. And let's just clear this up and see, make sure there's no errors. Great, so let's just start off. So it creates an item. It's putting it there. The tooltip does work. I'm going to open up my inventory. And when I add them to my inventory, nothing's showing up. At least not the icon. It is still there. And if I open up my character panel and I try to equip it, it's not there. Alright, so let's start off with that. Now I know I made some changes. I'd started making a more advanced item system. But there were a few things that I was still working on, and I might actually still have a screenshot in my Dropbox. But it doesn't look like it. It looks like I've already got rid of it. Let me just see here. Yeah, I've already gotten rid of it. But it showed what the final version, at least, well, I guess what the next iteration of the item system is going to be. But I really don't want to get that far advanced into it now because, like I said, the focus of this basic series is just to get things up and running. It's not going to be, super feature packed or anything like that. We just want something that works. So with that said, let's go back into Unity, and let me just open it up again. And what's happening is that we're spawning the items, but the icon isn't showing. So if we go over to the chest, when we open up the chest, actually the function's right here, populate chest. We're seeing it just goes through a loop, and it tells it how many items to make, and it goes through and it has an array of items in the chest, and we're getting these items from item generator and the method create item, and then it's just debug logging out the name. So let's look at that method in our item generator. And here it is right here. We haven't actually set up any other items but our melee weapon, but we have some comments into where other functionality has to go. So we're creating an item which is going to be of a weapon. So we come down to the weapon part, and it tells it to make either a melee or a ranged weapon. Right now we only have melee, so we're just going to make a melee weapon, and it calls this function. And it comes down, and we have an array of different weapon names. And it looks like we're picking one at random. We're assigning some basic properties to it. And base melee range, which I assume is saved here, which is 1. Then we go through, and here it is, where we grab the icon. We're grabbing the melee weapon path plus the name of the weapon. And we're grabbing it as a texture 2D. So the melee weapon path, I've probably changed it because I've been playing around a lot with my resources folder. Let me see if there's any way I can get them both on the same screen. Well, I guess I could just move this over. I really don't want this actually in this script anymore either. So one of the things I'm actually going to do is cut it out. I'm going to come over to game settings, and right below all my player pref constants that we added throughout the last little series, I'm going to create another region. And I'm just going to call this region resource path. And of course we want the end region. And I'm just going to paste it in, but now I'm going to make them public. Now this is going to cause a few errors because this script is actually looking for that constant here. But that's fine. We'll deal with that when we get to it. Let's just get the path right. And of course, it's going to be different for everyone else, but that's okay. Just set it to the one that, just make sure it's filled out to the path that you need. So I'm going to start off. I go into resources. Okay, so I'm going to go into item, and these are for the weapon icons. So I'm actually going to change this bit. Melee weapon icon path. So it goes into item. Let me shrink all these down. So we're going to weapon, then icon, and I want everything to be singular. So item, icon, and by making everything singular, it's just easier to remember later on when you're typing things out. That if you made everything singular down here, then you don't have to keep looking. So we got icon. Next we want to go to, it looks like weapon, right? We want to go to, well, it's either melee or ranged, and I have melee. And I have my trailing slash. So I'm going to cut and paste this constant here. Well, not quite cut and paste because we are going to have to prefix it. So I'm going to say game settings 2 dot, and I already forget what it was called. Melee weapon icon path. And I don't believe I'm using this anywhere else. And I can do the same thing with base melee, but I'm going to wait till I have a few more built up. All right, and it also looks for the name of the melee weapon, which is either sword, Morningstar, or Silifi. So let's expand this down a little bit further. And I don't have any of them named that anymore. So what do I have for swords? I have sword, one-handed, 001, 2, and 3. Well, this is my scimitar. Now again, I had renamed all these for the more advanced system. But like I said, I just want to keep everything really basic, just so we can hurry up and get this done. Or at least get something done that works. So I'm just going to rename this to, well, I'm going to call it a short sword. No, we'll just keep it a sword. And actually, that was wrong. That's my scimitar. My sword is actually the first one. And you want to make sure these names are the exact same. So we have Morningstar. I just have to delete the numbers at the end. And Silifi. It's an axe, and that was my axe 3, I believe, for the icon. All right, so let's try this out now, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we got the icons for those 3 items working. So it goes in, see what it made. Oh, another thing is I'm trying to create a new mono behavior using the keyword. Let me open this up. And I'm also going to need the weapon class. Or sorry, I believe it's base item I might have actually gone all the way back to. So let me open up scripts. And it'll be under items. Let's close some of these down. And I think it was item. Yes, I turned around and made it a mono behavior simply because of because of the more advanced system I was going to implement. And I don't really want to do it that way now. So I'm actually going to go through and get rid of some of this. Instead of init, we'll call it item again. And of course, we'll call item there. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to affect the rest of our scripts because I think our player character script used it as mono behavior. But we'll fix that as we go along. So let's see, we do have an error here. So item. No return type on a constructor. And we'll get rid of that one down here too. And okay, let's see what happens now. Now do we get our icons? We're still not getting our icons. So let me trace the path a bit more and we'll see what's going on here. So we made a Silifi sword. All right, so let me see here. We're going in and let's take a look down here in the inventory function. Inventory column rows. It's in the loot window. And I went to the wrong one. I wanted to go to the methods. So it should be this one here. And that creates the window. We do our checks. And we have our button here. So what I want to do is actually debug out this here, because that's what's not being put out. So let me do that right now. And let's just see if it actually is putting anything in there for us. So we'll start this up. Just clear everything. Let's come over and open a chest. And we're getting null references, so it's not loading. So nothing is being stored in the icon. So let's come back to the item generator. I might have done something wrong here. So we're going to come down here, and this is where we're loading it. And I'm going to debug log out exactly where the path is that it's trying to load. So I'm just going to grab all this and paste it in here. I actually want to prefix this a bit just so I know where it's coming from. So I'm going to say path to icon. And I'll clear it. We'll start it back up. I'll hit play. Let's open a chest. Path to icon. And it's still not actually, if you look, we got to stop it. Apparently I didn't type it right in my game settings because it's going to item icons. So game settings, and I haven't saved it. I just didn't save game settings. So that could have been the problem the whole time. Let me just check it out. So we'll clear, run up to a chest, open it up, and the path looks fine, except we're still getting errors. So what didn't I do? So item, icon, weapon. So let me start following this. So we have item, icon, weapon, melee, Silifi. Did I spell it wrong? S-I-L-I-F-I. I'm not seeing it. Did I just call it axe? Or did I rename something else Silifi? No, for now that's the Silifi icon. Let's see what these other were though. So we've got the same path and it just goes to sword. And do we have a morning star one? We do have a morning star. Morning star. Morning star. So everything looks right. The joys of debugging. And there we go. It's because the Silifi was wrong, and since the Silifi was the first one being loaded and trying to be displayed, we're getting that error. So let's open up my inventory. And there we go. We now have them added to our inventory. They probably won't add to our character yet. Yeah. Oh, actually, yes, if you double click. So it's adding to our character. And I haven't actually looked at the code for our character yet. I'll do it in the next tutorial. Well, actually, I can do this now. Let me just select my character. So I'm going to go into my scene view, select my character, Here he is right here. I actually want to select the sword he has. I just want to see if I actually... Yeah, see, I still have all 3 items here, and I believe I have that to start with. And I do. And with the new way I want to do it is I don't want to actually have these here all the time. I just wanted to load up the one I have, because a lot of people have been having trouble getting theirs to turn on and off, depending on how many meshes and whatnot they have. So what we're going to actually do is just have nothing under the weapon slot, and we'll delete anything that's there and add the new one. So it'll only ever have one. And performance-wise, I don't really think it's that much more of a hit to constantly change your weapons. It's not something that you're doing multiple times a second. So with that, well, I'm going to end this one here, and when we get back, we'll take a look at the new system we're going to use for equipping weapons. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.